Hey girlies, hey girl gang, hey girls, what is up? I am back and I have returned a changed woman. I'm a changed woman. Your girl's a college graduate. Yeah, she's educated. And it's time to put my degree in psych with a concentration in statistics to work. So logically, we'll be discussing the long-awaited Gossip Girl reboot. I am a self-proclaimed teen drama connoisseur. I have seen most of them. If they were on the CW, ABC Family / Freeform, I was in fact present to watch them. Gossip Girl has one of my favorite subgenres of media, extremely wealthy white people being incredibly messy. Add iconic fashion and incredibly unrealistic dramatic scenarios all to the soundtrack of mid-2000s bangers, and you've got a cultural phenomenon. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't lucky enough to have seen the show as it was airing in real time on the CW, but watching it for the first time in high school on Netflix, it's clear why the show's still immensely popular. I've since watched the show more times than I can count, so I would say I know my Gossip Girl pretty well. I'm gonna say it. This is all to say, when I heard the Gossip Girl was getting a reboot, I was excited yet very skeptical to say the least. The producers and the cast have done a really good job at keeping the plots under wraps and giving like little sneak peeks here and there. But if you're anything like me and you're extremely nosy or you just want to know what you're getting into, I have done the research, I have analyzed the evidence, I've drawn the conclusions, and I compiled everything you need to know about the upcoming HBO Max Gossip Girl reboot before you watch. Now, I'm going to assume that if you clicked on this video, you're familiar with Gossip Girl. However, if you are unfamiliar with Gossip Girl, here's a brief history. So Gossip Girl originally aired on the CW in 2007. It primarily followed the lives of Manhattan's elite and wealthy teens as they navigated high school on the Upper East Side, college life, and beyond. So the show is based off of the successful book series of the same name by Cicely von Ziegler. The show ultimately ran for a total of 6 seasons and ended in 2012, leaving holes in the hearts of many. First announced in 2019, the Gossip Girl reboot was picked up by HBO. Production was supposed to begin earlier, but ended up starting in November of 2020 due to COVID. Thank you, Miss Rona. However, earlier this year, it was announced that the reboot will be arriving to HBO Max in July 2021. Although many believe this Gossip Girl reboot is the first reboot or remake of its kind, the success of the original show actually led to earlier spin-offs such as Gossip Girl Acapulco, Gossip Girl Thailand, and Little Secrets, which is a Turkish version of Gossip Girl. This project, however, is different because it takes place in the same world as the OG Gossip Girl. The good news is that it looks like the creators are really trying to make this reboot actually good. So the creators of the original Gossip Girl series, Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, are both involved in the project and are working with the original showrunner and series writer Joshua Safran. Keep that name in mind because you will hear that name a lot throughout this video. I think it's pretty rare with reboots that the original screenwriters and creators are involved, so it's already a good sign that the gang's getting back together, and hopefully we'll get more iconic moments like...
We're Southern, so family loyalty is really big down there. Like slavery. What? I'm joking.
Or...
So what if I'm not going to Yale, and you were recently incarcerated and I'm afraid to talk to Chuck because he might hurt me again? This is our moment.
Equally as exciting, the costume designer from the original Gossip Girl, Eric Damon, also worked as the designer for the reboot. So seeing as how big of a role fashion played in the original, it's important that the fashion in the reboot is also up to par. The fashion went beyond the show and impacted people in real life. Like Gossip Girl had everyone wanting to dress like Blair Waldorf. To this day, every time I see someone wearing a headband, I instantly think of Blair. I'll be speaking more on the fashion of this reboot later on once I get further into the characters. So like I said, the show has been very stingy with the plot, but here's the official synopsis of the show. 8 years after the original website went dark, a new generation of New York private school teens are introduced to the social surveillance of Gossip Girl. The Prestige series will address just how much social media and the landscape of New York itself has changed in the intervening years. I know a lot of people were upset that this didn't follow the original cast or like their kids, but following a new group of kids makes sense to me. It's clear from the fashion to the characters that we're gonna look at later that the show is supposed to be very modern, and the creators want this to appeal to a new generation. Like, yes, obviously fans of the original show are gonna tune in, but this specific reboot has the opportunity to try to pull in a huge amount of newer viewers, and I see this being a lot of people's first introduction to Gossip Girl. So we did get a smidge of plot information from one of the co-creators saying that they're trying to make the show more racially diverse, which is good because the original Gossip Girl was very, como se dice, Caucasian. And the black characters either had no lines or were just extremely annoying. I'm looking at you, Vanessa. We'll have to see if they can actually execute it. Joshua Safran, the showrunner, also mentioned that there will be more queer representation, so that's something to look forward to as well. So I guess Dan and Jenny were actually useful for something, and Brooklyn is actually cool in this reboot, according to Safran. Safran also had this to say about the show on Twitter. The tone is different. First, that scared me, but all of us really want this to be its own thing, so I've embraced it. I really wanted this to feel like an extension and in no way a reboot. So it's an evolution of the story. That said, there are echoes. Constance and St. Jude's are still Constance and St. Jude's after all. According to Harpers Bazzar, Gossip Girl will no longer be a blog, but instead will be more of an app that people post on. The plot will focus less on the mystery of Gossip Girl and will instead embrace the idea that everyone is Gossip Girl by contributing to the all-encompassing social media platform that is Gossip Girl. Honestly, this evolution makes sense. I personally would find it hard to believe that in 2021 a bunch of Gen Z kids were on gossip blogs posting about each other. That just doesn't really sound accurate. So making it an app/social media platform definitely fits into modern times. So here's some other plot information that I was able to find by scouring Joshua Safran's Twitter. This was already commonly known. The show will be 10 episodes running anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. There will be an occasion/large event per episode, which makes sense because if you remember in the original Gossip Girl, they were going to events like every single night. So, you know, it makes sense. First episode will feature a fashion show. Things might change, but as of now, the first episode will feature a fashion show, and the second episode will feature a charity gala. It has been confirmed there is a Halloween episode, which I'm personally very excited about because I love a good Halloween costume party episode, and I'm very pumped to see all of the outfits. According to Safran, the costume design team apparently completed over 100 distinct costumes. Season 1 will try to follow a one school semester per season timeline. As of May 2nd, they were filming episode 5. There will be a love triangle, and also there is a huge twist that we won't see coming. There will be a new intro, so the old intro will be gone. We are finally at the characters, and I'm so excited. I think the beauty of Gossip Girl is that the writers were able to take a show about teenage multimillionaires, something that literally no one can relate to, and make people so invested in the characters. Like, yeah, was Blair Waldorf actually the devil incarnate sometimes? Yes. At the end of the day, do I still love her? Yeah, absolutely. And did Serena van der Woodsen deserve a slap in the face a couple times? Yes, because she's stupid. But at the end of the day, I still wish her the best. This is all to say, I am not expecting a mini Blair or a mini Serena. I hope to root for and be invested in these characters. The cast of the show was announced on January 1st, 2020 via Gossip Girl's Instagram. So without further ado, the characters. Apologies if I butcher any of these, because I've never heard them said out loud ever. So the new Gossip Girl will follow these characters: Audrey Hope, Aki Menzies, Kate Keller, Max Wolfe, Obie Bergmann IV, Julien Calloway, Monet de Haan, Luna Law, and Zoya Lott. Along with the names of the characters, a singular word was also used to describe each of them, and that's all we knew for a while. But after doing some research and analyzing photos a little bit too closely, I've managed to gather some information on the characters that I feel pretty confident about. Starting out, we have Audrey Hope. She's being played by Emily Allen Lind. Super quick random fact, her mom played Deb in One Tree Hill. I love that fact. But anyways, back to Audrey. The word that was used to define her on Instagram was grace. The actress told Bazzar that Audrey is, quote, into classic and old-fashioned type things like Audrey Hepburn, and she's into the finer things. I can definitely get a sense of that, especially through her fashion. As you can see in these photos, she tends to dress very classy and sticks to a neutral color scheme, even outside of her school uniform. Even her hair and her jewelry are pretty minimalistic. Her hair is always kept pretty simple. Her jewelry, she's always just wearing like simple gold accents. She's often seen reading a lot, so I get the sense that she's a bit of a bookworm. She's reading and stacks some poetry for fun. So you already know she's sophisticated. Already obsessed with her outfits, especially this royal blue jacket look. She looks so expensive. She looks so good in this. I cannot wait to see the rest of her looks. Emily also disclosed that her character Audrey is in a long-term relationship with Aki, but, and I quote, she's beginning to wonder what more could be out there. What this tells me is that Audrey seems to be a little bit bored in a relationship and maybe in her life in general. Lastly, more about Audrey. Her mom is an athleisure designer and her best friend is Julien. So Evan Mock will play Aquino or Aki Menzies. Let me just say this man is beautiful and I quickly see the world becoming obsessed with him, especially after the show airs. Like, are y'all seeing his face? Anyways, mark my words, y'all. The word used to describe Aki is innocence. The showrunner Saffron also said in a Q&A on Twitter that Aki is very sweet. Since Evan is a well-known skater in real life, I was wondering if they would incorporate that into his character on screen, and based off these photos, I think it's safe to assume that Aki skates as well. Besides being kind and innocent, I found that he has a best friend named Obie since birth, so they're the main, I guess, guy best friend duo in the show. And like I said earlier, he's dating Aubrey. He's been dating Aubrey for a hot minute, and that's all we have on Aki. The next character is Kate Keller, who's played by Tavi Jevinson. Kate's word to describe her is ambitious, and she looks it, y'all. She really looks it. This girl literally looks like she'll cut you if you try to get into her top ivy. Big Blair energy, so it makes sense. Her fashion is very put together and conservative, giving very J. Crew, but more expensive, you know? From the energy she radiates from these pictures, you can tell she's just very about her business. Personality and storyline is one that's purposely being kept under wraps, so there's definitely something about her, and that makes me wonder what's up with her. Like, I'm giving her the side eye because I'm like, what are you scheming about? And looking at pictures of her, of the whole friend group on the Met steps, she's on the end, a little bit further from everyone else. I get the vibe that she's not as close to the rest of the friend group, and she only hangs out with them for social purposes. Next up, we have Matt Wolfe, played by Thomas Doherty. So this role is definitely a departure from Descendants. The word used to describe Max was freedom, and the picture at first gave me Chuck vibes, but the word freedom reminds me a little bit more of Nate. So this character is confirmed to be gay. In fact, when interviewed about his character, Thomas said, and I quote, "Yes, I do get naked, and yes, I do indulge." Thomas, you could have just given a simple yes, but carrying on. When doing another Twitter Q&A, Saffron was asked if Max has a best friend, and his response to that is, Max's best friend is himself. For some reason, I can already tell he has a big mouth, and he loves to speak his mind. Moving on, we have Eli Brown as Otto Obie Bergmann IV, also known as Obie or Obie. Again guys, I don't know how to pronounce her name, so sorry. Obie is played by Eli Brown, and his word is privilege. As I mentioned earlier, he is best friends with Aki, and they've been best friends since birth. He is apparently a rich do-gooder. There's not much else to say about him. For some reason, I just already don't trust him. Maybe it's because he's a white man, but there's also just a vibe from these pictures that I just don't like. And I think it's because he gives me Dan vibes. Watch me end up loving him. Anyways, up next we have Jordan Alexander, who plays Julien Calloway. I'm so excited to talk about her. Julien's word is influence, and it's since been confirmed that Julien is an influencer. Gonna be honest, I don't love the idea of seeing influencers in TV. Usually just comes off as cringy. It usually doesn't work, but I digress. I mentioned this earlier, but her best friend is Audrey Hope, and I believe they're the main best friend duo, so like Blair and Serena. Not saying that they are Blair and Serena, but it's like that kind of dynamic, kind of really close friendship. This is all we know about her, but I do have some thoughts based off of the set photos that I'd love to share. So I think she's definitely the queen bee at the school. In every photo where there's a group of 3, she seems to be standing in the middle, or is often seen standing a little bit ahead of other 2 characters. In this picture, it's Luna and Monet. So anytime she's with Luna and Monet, she is the center. Her wardrobe definitely reflects her influencer personality. I feel her clothes are often very trendy, where her peers tend to like to wear more like timeless and classy pieces. Julien opts for more trendier items. She's often seen wearing biker shorts, fanny packs, sneakers. So the next 2 characters that we have are Monet de Haan, who is played by Savannah Smith, and also Luna Law, who is played by Zion Monero. Monet's word is power, and Luna's word to describe her is fashion. We know very little about the 2 of them except that they are best friends with each other, and according to Saffron on Twitter, he says that the 2 of them are the funniest in the show. Besides that, we know literally nothing. Going back to these photos, I have to be honest, I was a little nervous when I saw them because it kind of looks like Luna and Monet are Julien's minions, which I don't love. But according to the showrunner, there will be no minion scenarios in this Gossip Girl. I, however, will believe it when I see Luna and Monet actually get storylines and screen time. Going into Monet's fashion, I am obsessed. It's like my favorite, hands down. Based off of these photos, you can tell she's very girly and very posh. I see her and she just screams wealth. All of her outfits are so cute. It would be a crime for her to not have enough screen time. Like she's also just gorgeous in general, and I really hope she has time to shine, because like these outfits are alone, like she's eating them up. As for Luna's looks, they look very simple and clean so far. She often wears outfits which show off her gorgeous legs. Of the outfits, Luna's are one of my least favorites. They're not my favorite, which I find like pretty ironic because her thing is supposed to be like style, but I also recognize I've only seen a handful of her wardrobe from these pictures that were released, so there's still a lot more to see. And last but not least, we have Zoya Lott, who is played by Whitney Peak. In Zoya's perspective, essentially it's been confirmed that she is like the newcomer into the world. She is like the Dan or Jenny Humphrey of this Gossip Girl. Besides that, there's not really that much information about her. Based off of these photos, it's clear that she's not as like rich or wealthy as everyone else, and this is evident through her fashion. It's more casual and laid back, less dressed up than the rest of the girls. Lots of docks and flannels and casual cardigans, which I personally love. Like, I think all of her outfits are adorable, and you can just tell that she likes to be chill and comfortable. There is some good news and some bad news, depending on how you view it. Bad news, none of the main core 5 will be appearing from the original Gossip Girl in the reboot of Gossip Girl, which isn't really shocking to me at all. They're all grown, they have like lives and careers, they've moved on from Gossip Girl, so it makes sense that none of them have signed up to be in this Gossip Girl. The good news is living legend Kristen Bell is returning to voice Gossip Girl. Now, I found out that she was coming back, I instantly gained more respect for the show. I think that if there's anyone who needed to come back, it was her. I just believe that her role is so vital to the feel of the show, and so without Kristen Bell, it wouldn't have been the same, and so I'm really glad she's coming back. Okay, so really quick, here are some of my plot predictions / theories. I kind of touched on my predictions of like the characters, but this is more plot oriented. Based off of these pictures, I believe that Zoya has a past relationship with Obie. It looks like they're on a date. He's putting his jacket on her. They're both dressed up. It's just the 2 of them. I think that there could be something there. Not saying that they're gonna be like a whole thing, but I think that there's possibly something there. My next prediction is that Audrey and Aki won't be together by the end of this season. I mean, since it's already been mentioned that she wants something more, I'm thinking that she either breaks up with him or ends up being interested in someone else and cheats on him and he finds out and they break up. That's just what I'm thinking. Who knows? This is my big theory. Neckties instead of headbands.
The headband has kind of become its own thing and kind of its own character on the show. I think it's Lair's security blanket. It empowers her and makes her feel complete.
And I think that Julien has something similar to this concept, except for headbands, it is neckties slash like neck pieces. I'm gonna need you to walk with me, okay? There's a scene that I actually find very interesting, and that's when the main group of friends are at the Met steps and Zoya walks up to Julien with a scarf in her hair, like a headband, like it looks like a headband. We love a good Blair Waldorf callback. And Julien unties the headband, as you see, and ties it around Zoya's neck. And I think that's just an interesting parallel to me.
You poor thing.
If you're still here at the end, I so appreciate you absorbing all this information with me and listening to me go on and on about this reboot. All in all, I think that this reboot has all the tools to be good. Like, you've got the OG creator, the showrunner, the costume designer, and Kristen Bell, of course. I have yet to see a terrible HBO original show, so as long as the script isn't like dumb and like as long as the acting's good, I see no reason why the reboot wouldn't be successful. Obviously, it probably won't be as good as the original. Like, there's too much nostalgia and history tied up in that for it to be better than the original. But I do believe it'll be good and it'll be a fun thing for like the new generation of watchers. I'm personally looking forward to watching it because I want to see if I was accurate or like way off about any of this stuff. Definitely expect a review once the season airs because, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this and I take my Gossip Girl very seriously. Till next time, you know you love me. XOXO, Basic Girl.